Did I took you in the middle? He's over there.
Okay. All right, we're going to get started. For Town of Branford Board of Finance budget meetings for Monday, March 23rd, 2026. And tonight is technically the budget hearings, which are public hearings, which are different than the regularly scheduled board or special Board of Finance meetings. So this is the opportunity for the public to have inputs on all of the deliberations that the board is considering and listening to. So tonight we will be hearing from the several departments, I believe 18 or 19 departments, and they will be heard by and categorized by some of the RTM committees. Again, we will meet tomorrow night as Tuesday, the 24th, and then on Thursday, the 26th. The board will then meet again on a workshop on April 6th, at which time the board will recommend the budget to the RTM. The RTM will conduct their committee hearings, and they have an expected budget meeting on the 12th of May, which they will again approve the budget, and it'll come back to us on the 18th of May for us to solidify any revenues and to set the mill rate. Before we begin, I'd just like to go over the budget requirements as requested by the departments. A total of $150,250,274, which represents a $8.79 million increase, or 6.2% increase in expenditures. After revenues and fund balance are considered, the net to be raised from taxation would be $128,077,000, or an increase in amounts raised from taxation of $9.8 million, or 8.3%. The grand list is improved or increased by $116 million, and that sits today at $5,767 million, or a 2.1% increase. And with the presentations that are here today, the calculation would be a mill rate of 22.7, or 1.3 increase in mills. And as I might point out, that the board considers all the department requests, and then will make adjustments as they feel necessary, and then move that approved budget to the RTM. So with that, we'll begin with the Conservation and Environment Commission on page 50. There's someone here to present that. Heather? Going once?
One second, Chairman.
She's not here.
She's not here.
So that's page 50. Are you going to present that, Josh?
Sure.
On page 50, it's the Conservation and Environment Commission is they're asking for $11,772, zero increase.
It's just that increase.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Josh or Catherine?
So it's a 0% increase in the budget. What she had done was we moved funds up to the board clerk to do a 2.75% increase as instructed by the first selectman. So she took that from miscellaneous expenses to cover that. It does reflect a higher increase because this year's budget, she had forgotten to give the increase. So that's why she's making up for it with the other account. And it doesn't show 2.75.
And they'll have enough with that $8,400, you think, for miscellaneous expenses?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So the way it plays out is that budget will get presented. We'll ask if the Board of Finance has any questions from the presenter. Then we'll open it up to the RTM members and members of the public. So members of the Board of Finance, any questions on this budget?
No.
Al, you good?
Yes, no?
Okay, yes, no. Questions from RTM members of the public? The audience? Okay, we'll move on to the next one, economic development, on page 25. Welcome, Perry and Richard. Request is for $79,600, an increase of $56,050.
Okay. Thank you for not reciting the percentage increase, because that does sound a lot worse than it is. So literally at first glance, you've got a 238% increase in our budget, but wages were not included in previous years. It was always part of the first selectman's budget. So really that $79,600 request, which looks like a $56,000 increase, really translates to only about a $21,500 increase, or 91.5% increase for apples to apples after you take out the wages that had not been previously budgeted. And part of the wages are for the economic development manager, and part of the wages will also be hopefully additional part-time as needed. We've talked with the first selectman, and he has agreed 100% that we are doing the right thing on the part-time. Right now, we're going to have the part-time work through the planning department, and we are going to be able to share some of that work that the current person is doing, and not be a cost to the economic development. So it's a plus for all of us. The request for the additional $21,550 is so that we may continue and set up the extremely effective marketing campaign that we've developed for economic benefits for the town. Rich will explain a little bit more on it, but our objective has been to embrace the retention and growth of existing businesses. And Rich, if you just want to take over that, some of that information, and then I'll talk some more after that.
So as of a couple of years ago, we worked hard to develop a plan. We actually have a formal plan, a proposal that we finally got together this past year. And since starting the marketing plan, which started with a lot of different items, but social marketing, we actually now, in the last year, have 175,000 annual views, which previous to this, we had none because it was not even a website. Our audience expansion is now 500 new followers. Interaction with local people is up to 11,000 engagements this past year. And some of that is things that get posted, like the last item that got posted was the town center being redeveloped, and which is a big topic right now. So that was, one of the more vocal responses. And we're, focusing on economic growth, announcements regarding the influx of whatever new businesses. We did some seasonal holiday messaging, trying to help the town merchants. Our plan is to really, business attraction and business retention are the two, main focuses right now. Every other day there's a post through the website, and it's something to do with the town, something to do with what's happening, which has been working very well. This past year, we had placement of 2 billboards on I-95. I'm not sure if anybody have seen it, but, we're trying to help the town merchants and trying to promote the holiday season. And that reached 1.7 million views based on the traffic. The billboard was over by CarMax, which is a very popular digital billboard. So basically, our plan is to help the grand list build. We're targeting biotech or similar type of businesses, manufacturing, and even possibly a hotel. So not to go into the whole detail of this, obviously, marketing proposal, there would be chores to get done, which would be reaching out to out-of-state companies, and there's ways and organizations to do that, and obviously giving them information either by phoning, mailers, and contact them directly. And the hope is that we, get people aware of what we have in Branford. We do have a lot of infrastructure, city water, city sewers, things that have attracted people to the town. Myself, I've been in the town for 48 years. Our business is 48 years old, so we've got a vested interest. So that's kind of the overview of what we're doing. There is an increase we're asking for. It is really needed because to accomplish these items is not an easy task. So if we want to see some future results and get some newer businesses, I know there's some good things happening in Branford right now, but we hope to see more. So any questions, I'd be glad to answer, but that's kind of where we are in our plan.
Yeah, and I just want to say that for anybody that doesn't know, Rich is chairman of the Economic Development Commission, so he and the commission kind of direct what they would like to accomplish and work it out through me, and then we go through Town Hall. And just before we get to any other questions, a couple things I did want to say. As part of that additional $21,550 is going to be used to market and attract successful businesses that generate a positive climate to the town, increase the tax base. More events are being planned that will bring groups active with the commercial brokers, regional commerce teams, including the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce, REX, South Central Regional Council of Governments, Advanced CT, Tourism Board, Connecticut Department of Economic Development. They know who we are, and that's because we've been attending meetings, and we're going to be attending even more and talking about what a great town this is. Currently, we're working on details for a $69.5 million healthcare facility in town. It's a for-profit facility, so that will bring in tax revenue annually. They're very successful in other parts of the country, and they're moving into Connecticut and New England. And then also, we are working on repurposing existing businesses as we welcome established companies to come into our town. Northeast Industrial, Beaver Road, East Industrial are a few businesses that, as things change and they leave, we are very active in helping find people, and that does take time and effort and money. So that $21,550 really is just a small investment for a big return. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
Perry and Rich, questions from the board?
Yes.
Harry?
What do you use for resources on the commercial or business side? Do you have contact with the larger commercial real estate agencies to?
So yeah, I'll answer that because the commercial brokers, they do have meetings, and certain ones that pertain to something that would be beneficial for us. We do. Some are just more, a dinner and an awards thing, and others are more really where we meet. And then the couple ones that I recommended, REX is a regional economic accelerator within the Greater New Haven area. They know who we are. They know how great Branford is. They know our tax base. I mean, our taxes are low, and so they come to us, and they know the business climate is positive here. The South Central Regional Council of Governments is another one that we're very involved with. And Advanced CT is throughout the state, but they actually send people to other parts of the world, then primarily in the life science, biotech industry, health science, and we've benefited from that in the past, from them bringing people to Branford. So.
And we are researching organizations that you contact, and some have fees, some don't, that will help you find and locate other businesses out of the state. So part of the marketing plan is to engage with those kind of companies. No different than private sector. If you want to expand your business to Massachusetts, you got to get some data, you got to get some customer lists. So there are a lot of organizations out there. So the bottom line is, part of what we're going to do is we're going to research and then contact those organizations. Perry may have to, meet with them out of the state, or we will contact them and set up, either a remote meeting, and that's, one of the items that we would start with. And And we do have a very well-known broker. One of our members is a local commercial real estate agent, works for a local commercial real estate, so he's also been very helpful, and hopefully he'll stay on, or if he does ever move from the commission, we'll add another person like that, so.
Just curious, who manages our social media campaign, and what platforms do we use?
So the Discover Branford Facebook social media page, I do that, but also Colin Sheehan, who is in the events, he'll add some things on, but primarily all the business-related things, or a lot of the small businesses, if they post something and I see it, I will share it. If there's other events that are going on in the library or something like that, that is all geared towards making people realize that, hey, Branford's a pretty cool town that, like to be involved in. The other social media pages that we have, that they are handled through Mosaic Marketing, that handles that for us, and that is something that gets posted, and there's more, I'll say, detailed and pertinent information that's on that, and that's what Rich was referring to before, that 175,000 views on social media, that really is what is I think impressive, that the job they're doing. So,
What are we using other than Facebook?
I think it's Facebook, LinkedIn, and then as far as the actual social media. But then they're also we've got them with the website and reaching out in other ways. One of the things we found recently, in talking with a lot of people, is the email blasts and things that go to you, and I've just deleted a bunch of them that have been coming to me. People get inundated, whereas now, ironically, a print card means something, because at least as you're throwing it out, you're looking at it and saying, I can't believe they sent this to me, or hey, this is pretty good, let me put this to the side. So we're looking back into some of that as possible options.
And one of the things that we've talked about is, once we find the target market that we want, we're going to send out probably an introduction letter introducing whoever it's coming from, most likely Perry's name, and then follow up with a call, so to kind of do a telemarketing. Doing any kind of a blasting doesn't work. I mean, what was effective over the years for what we've done was exactly that. We'd reach out to 10 or 20 or 30 businesses, send them a detailed letter, get the person's name, and then follow up with a phone call, and usually your percentage goes up by 50, 60% of actually talking to somebody and then getting interested in them. So that's kind of a little bit of the plan that we're developing. I mean, there's many more things, but if everything goes well and we get this budget approved, I mean, next year we might need even more money, but we'll take one step at a time.
The grand list went up by $116 million. Right? How much of that was attributable to, you think, your efforts?
I'm not going to take credit for anything, but I will tell you, and I think if you remember from when I first started this, I don't know, a decade or so ago, this is actually the easiest job in the world, and don't even pay attention to that, but all I have to do is mention the town of Branford. All I have to do is show them what our tax rate is, and the fact that we have sewers, the fact that we have water, the fact that we have gas. So many businesses want to come here, because as soon as you go into North Branford or Guilford or East, you got nothing. So yeah, I can't take credit for that. I think it's the administration today and in previous administrations over the decades that have really made Branford what it is.
Yeah, and we've been very active, and over the years have called in a lot of businesses and given them awards. So retention is a big thing. I mean, this past year, two businesses almost left Branford, not to mention names, and there were two pretty big businesses. Luckily for us, they stayed in town. So also, some of the focus is to reach out, talk to some of the businesses, see where the pain points are. I don't think anybody wants to move out of Branford. We want to make it easy and just make sure that we understand their needs. And if they need to expand, help them do that, because there are businesses that are, not expanding, but there are a lot of businesses that are expanding. I've seen a weird trend over the last year or two in what we do, and some businesses are going crazy right now, and I've got 2 or 3 of my customers are expanding like I can't even believe. So, and most of them are in Branford, so that's a good thing.
Thank you. Other questions from the board?
Yeah, quick one. Does your department, are they doing anything to support the businesses that might be hurt by the construction going on?
Excellent question.
Yeah, well,
I'll let you start and I'll jump in after.
we are concerned with that reason, and what we did this past year, we allocated some of the money to do the billboards and, try to get the local, people buying local. So yes, I mean, that's a tough one, but it is a big concern. So part of the plan would be to work and strategically figure out what will make it easier. We do have a member of the Chamber of Commerce who also is instrumental with helping drive business to the town merchants. So I think our message has been, please shop local. We talk about it all the time. We do have the president of the Shoreline Chamber of Commerce there. They're pushing it. And I would hope that all the commission members, and I know me, myself, go out of my way to buy local. So whether it's going into buying clothes or sneakers or whatever, I'm kind of an old-fashioned gentleman, but that's kind of what we're doing right now.
We do.
Like the logistics of being able to get in and park.
Okay, so the Town Center Merchants Association, it is primarily the Main Street and Monowee Street, but it's open to anybody in town, because our feeling is if the town center thrives, or survives, the rest of the town thrives. And that is key. And as we go through this reconstruction that has been going on, although it hasn't been going on for a couple of years now, and the merchants have been expecting it and whatever. So we have been working on it. We, along with the town hall, along with the engineering department, and M&J is, and the person with the M&J is with part of the contractors, that person is a resident of Branford, so he understands and he's passionate about it. So we have been reaching out pretty much now for 2 years, but certainly hard within the last year, and they know, and I can't tell you enough how comfortable the town center merchants are knowing that we at least are paying attention. Not to say that they're not going to change their mind as we go a little further in it, but knowing that they're going to have a 2-week notice of what's going on, what's happening, and we will be posting where you can park, the public parking. We also have talked, and it's possible that we will have a shuttle from the train station. I've talked with the state. First Selectman has talked with the state, and as long as we don't block off the parking lot, it is a public parking, so we can utilize that for the employees of the businesses to park there and get shuttled in, and then there'll be plenty of parking for the residents. I mean, for the shoppers, and then the residents are going to be instructed that you can't park on Main Street. They already are told they can't, and occasionally they will, and they can't park in there. So there's definitely communication, there's definitely a game plan, and once the place starts getting torn up, you'll see some things enacted on that. That was a good question. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Josh?
I just want to follow up to Board Member Conklin's question. I do believe that there is room for growth in the economic development as far as the outreach globally, and there's been a lot of behind-the-scenes research on what the best aspect of that is. I just think it was too early to come in this budget process to have that conversation, but I do think that conversation will be had in the future. We just weren't ready to have, we weren't ready. We don't have a plan, an active plan ready to come in this budget cycle. I think part of that will be the $17,500. But we do recognize that there's an opportunity to have more of a global reach or a nationwide reach to businesses. We're just not ready to bring that to you all yet in this budget process.
Okay. Thank you. Questions from the RTM members, or I'll go John?
Just quickly, I heard you say that the line item here for seasonal part-time help had actually been in the first selectmen's budget before, so how much was that then and what's it now?
It was zero. There was no money for...
So this is all an additional?
Yeah. Basically, what was in his budget to cover economic development wages was in the first selectman's office. It is now taken out of his budget and it's into ours, which makes a lot more sense because it should be attributed to...
I get that, but how much was in the budget when it was in his budget?
I don't know, to be honest with you, but I'd have to guess it was, I don't know. Yeah, that...
Hold on.
Okay.
It's actually the part-time seasonal budget for the executive was at $49,696. It is at zero now, but we didn't decrease his pay, but we decreased my budget, which hurts my feelings, but I'll live with it.
It wasn't only for economic development, though. In that budget was also money for the blight officer. So you'll notice both budgets will increase by that
Right,
dollar
so we
amount.
put the blight officer with planning and zoning, which makes more sense. And then this way, we're creating economic development to stand on its own.
But the question is, I'm assuming now that the 34 simply moved from one place to another. There's
Correct.
No change
Correct.
in that number.
Correct.
Well, there's a
There's a
salary adjustment.
2.75 increase, but we didn't,
Thank you.
that's what that increase was.
Okay, thanks. Sure. And I forget your first name?
Sir?
Your name?
Elisa Waterman.
Elisa, yes, go ahead. Sure.
So I would ask you about getting a little bit more granularity about the budget for the additional communication. And before that, I just wanted to kind of say, because I know some of it in terms of, so I'm a member of, well, we own a bioscience company here in Branford, and we're very connected in with the bioscience community here in Connecticut. And so I know that we have lost many bioscience companies here in Branford over the last few years, and there's a lot of vacancies in buildings in our industrial zone. I mean, you just kind of drive by some of the streets and there's just for rent signs everywhere. So I think we've lost a lot. And at the same time, in New Haven, there's been huge growth. I mean, I think everyone has seen it driving past 95 in bioscience labs within New Haven. New buildings bought, shiny new labs made, incubator labs. So I know that there is, a lot of people who had come to Branford are now in New Haven, being close to Yale, kind of shiny new labs, where that is something we kind of don't have here in Branford. And so, and I know you talked about some of the things we've done of working through RACs and advanced CT, et cetera, but those are things Branford has always been involved in. RACs has been a membership in RACs and advanced CT and bio-CT and all of those. So in terms of additional funds, what exactly will it be used for, and how will that then kind of try to attract, in a difficult climate, how will that really work to attract new TACA biotech here?
So that is part of the problem, is we need to communicate more to that industry. But as one of the things that happened that more affected Branford than New Haven, New Haven over the last couple of years, they've, not New Haven, but the investors, the ones that do that, they went and they got these large corporations that were growing, and they built these huge buildings, the Alexions and whatever. Branford has, and as when you were on the economic development, I used to say this a lot, Branford is more the graduation space. We have the incubator space right outside of New Haven, out of Groton, out of Farmington, and then you have the larger companies that can stand on their own in a big building. But in between that, you have the graduation space where you still want to be near the Yale or the UConn or whatever, but we work well off of somebody that graduates out of the incubator space but still wants to be close in New Haven, still wants to be close to Yale, and they come to Branford for all that we have and all that we offer and can offer. What did happen, certainly within the last year, has been a lot of funding that they rely on hasn't been readily available from the federal government or the state or whatever. So that has affected a lot of the ones that were just getting ready to come out with something or that needed that extra funds to do that. So now it's question about, do we find another investor? Do we close up? Do we whatever? So that is what you're seeing a little bit about right now. There are some things, and it's always been an industry where they'll come and they'll go as either they get a patent, as the research does what it has to do, or as the money dries up. One thing that we did do recently, we were in the top 5 for receiving a grant from the state and the Department of Economic and Community Development. Unfortunately, they gave it to Yale and they gave it to UConn because they had, number one, they were looking for a lot more money, but also it was a much more beneficial project along the way. But one thing we want to do is in the area of like Business Park Drive, where those are a lot of those changeovers happen. We wanted to make that more of a campus-like setting where the buildings would be able to work together. Those that wanted to build an additional story on them, whatever, they could do that. All this thing we just, and they were really impressed with it, but they said right now, they're going in this route, but they said, please keep an eye on when more funding comes, because it was something that was very good. Right off exit 56, right outside of New Haven. So that is some of the things we're doing, and to communicate that part is part of our communication. So we didn't feel we wanted to put it into the advertising, printing. That's why we wanted to keep it separate as communicated, because it's really going to be more of a push to communicate who we are, what we are, and what we can do, and how do we get there from there. So, and it'll be nationwide as far as getting additional companies to look and see who we are.
Somebody could get the details, 'cause that wasn't the real details
okay.
of how, okay, but we can talk about that.
All right.
Okay, other questions from public? Dan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe you said that once you identify the target market that you're looking for, what data do you look at, and what is your methodology for targeting that group?
So we constantly get, and these are some of the deletes that, hey, we've got so-and-so looking for a property, and as you look further into the details, it's somewhere in the United States, somewhere that has this, somewhere that has that, and that limits to about maybe 49 states. So what we're looking at is we're looking at ways to define a little bit more of, okay, how can we show that Branford not only checks all that, but it's better than any other possibility. That it's better than any other possibilities. So.
And you're getting emails to that effect, or you're looking at?
Well, I'm saying currently they'll go through every single town in the country, and they'll say, okay, let's go after them, and then as we look into it, we realize, okay, they're sending it to everybody. They're not really. So now we want to do in reverse and communicate to the type of businesses that are looking for something, but then explain why we have what we have to offer.
So you're looking for businesses that are coming in, you're not actually targeting a type of industry you're going after?
Well, the industry we do feel we are perfect for is biotech, life science industry. Anything in the for-profit health care is definitely something that is beneficial for the taxpayers and for the citizens.
And I think more importantly, we are going to target businesses and go after them globally. So maybe not 50 states or 30 states away, but a more condensed radius. At least we'll start with that. But there is data for that, so.
Okay, other questions from the public, the audience, RTM members?
It would be helpful when you come to R&O to be a little more specific about that targeting.
Well, we have that in the...
Yeah, we have a specific plan, just didn't want to do it tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
But
5 pages
at the
or
next
something.
When you
meeting,
come to R&O, it would be helpful to see that.
we can give you copies of it, and you can form questions. So.
And you could provide a copy, electronic copy to the board as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they do have it. I think Catherine probably has it. It was sent when we submitted the board, but it's like a whole report, people.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
but, yeah.
All right, other questions? Al, you good?
Set.
All set. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next is building inspection and enforcement, page 37. How are you?
Back.
Tony sent you, huh?
Yeah, I'm the messenger.
And your name is again?
About to. My name's Chris Sauter.
Oh, Chris,
I am the new assistant building official for the town of Branford, and I'm filling in as a presenter because Tony's unable to attend tonight. First off, some things, budget items. I'm going to hit on the changes. Hope that's acceptable to everybody.
That's fine.
But start off with regular wages and salaries. The $67,000 change amount is mostly due to moving the building engineering administrative position from the engineering budget over to the building department budget, which is the reflection of that 34.1% increase. Next is a reduction of 42.9% in longevity due to the new hire of an assistant building official who is not eligible because of union contract. Next is accrued payroll for the extra day within the calendar year. The 34% jump includes the new position, which is moved from the engineering budget. Finally, consulting services is a $4,500 change for the rate increase from $46 to $50 per hour for our contractual inspector. The study of area comps was conducted, and the current market rate indicates a $50 to $60 service per hour for that such service. So we feel that the rate increase is justified by keeping us competitive in that market. On the revenue side, currently, we're at approximately $470,000 has been collected to date as we enter into the final quarter. We do not anticipate any shortfall of meeting our estimate revenue goal for the ending of 2026. We continue to see an introduction of apartment structures to be the hot topic of the town, with our most recent project completed at Mariner's Landing down by the river, and our new project on East Main Street in the old cinema property. We have fully implemented a new permit system called OpenGov as of October 6th and have received strong positive feedback from both the public and the contractors alike, and we continue to explore new options for optimizing its efficiency and ease of use. That's pretty much everything in a nutshell, and at this point, I'll do my best to answer any questions that might come up, but if I cannot, I am assured that Tony will get them back to you as soon as he returns.
Okay, question first is maybe to Catherine. The increase came from a decrease in engineering, but I'm not seeing that. Could you
Yes, so
hit that?
the engineering department had in there, this is you'll get more of this when we get to engineering, but in the engineering, there were two admin positions that are shared by really the whole department, not just building, engineering, but also planning and zoning. They kind of are one-stop shop there, but as you may or may not be aware, we've actually moved the engineer and the assistant engineer out of Town Hall into the Public Works building. So we thought it best to at least take one of these admin and put it into building. We kept one of the admin with engineering. The reason why you don't actually see a decrease in engineering is because we're requesting more positions in engineering, but we can discuss that now, but and you'll see in that discussion when we get to engineering that instead of there being 3 engineering persons and an admin, we're going to try to go to 4 engineering persons and an admin. So that's why you don't see the reduction on that side.
Got it. And that'll be probably tomorrow night, but that's helpful for sure. Okay. Engineering is engineering is tomorrow. So, okay, thanks, Josh and Catherine, on that. Questions from the board?
No.
Al?
No.
You're good?
All set, thanks.
RTM members, I'll go with the gentleman in back and then John.
Peter Henschel, maybe this is a question for Josh, but where does the open.gov, does that come under the IT expenses, or where is the cost of that?
That's IT.
That's IT. Thank you.
Okay, John?
What was the revenue number again, and where do we see this?
Revenue currently is at approximately $470,000. That's from permits and fees intake. So
Where do we see that in the?
That's in the revenue side, the budget, John, up top. Let's see. We can provide the detail on that. It's
Page 8.
page 8.
Page 8. With the departmental revenues.
Right now, you got a budget of $797,000. For this current year, it's $725,000. So if you're at 470, you got a little bit to go.
Yep.
But for next year, John, we're budgeting $497,000, increase of $72,500.
Thank you.
Just FYI. Okay. Just hold on, Chris.
And I'm just keeping myself.
You're ready to go. Other questions from Chris? We got him here. Tony's somewhere else, so let's take advantage of it. No other questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Not a problem, thank you.
Yep, take care. Next is Water Pollution Control Authority. We'll look at page 65 and 66 are the relevant pages. Welcome, Brian.
Good evening.
Request is for $5,303,619 in expenditures.
Yeah, I had a few increases, a total of 2.7% increase of the total budget. I had the utilities, water, gas, and electric. I increased that 9.1% due to increase of electrical cost and gas and water. So I increased that, and then I had also the sludge disposal that I have every year, and I have grit removal with that too. So I had to increase that. That was 12.2% on that there. I have a new septic receiving unit, and it's very efficient. It's taking more grit out. But the good part of that, we generated an extra $100,000 from the grit removals, the septic receiving unit, because now we have a meter for all those septic trucks that come in. So we're up 100 grand. Probably next year will be about 150. We'll generate more in revenue from that. In the middle of the summer, we do about 28 to 30 trucks a day, and that helps our carbon source for our process, where we don't have to buy a methanol and chemicals to meet that. That could be about 80 to 100,000. With that, should generate next year into the 900s with revenue, maybe $1 million. With the system, it's very efficient. We put it in last year. When you get the very cold days, like 5 to 10 degrees, we run into some issues. But beyond that, the trucks come in, hit their code and dump, and then they head out, and the system will give me on the computer the amount of generated. We get $80 per 1,000 gallons. So that's been the revenue source on that. Communications, I have 51 pump stations now, so I have a mission cell technology for alarms. I have 9 left that have to be installed the next year, and it's $300 a year for the fee per station. So I increased that particular, that was up by 11.4%. I'll make sure I got this right. Yeah, communications, 12.2%. So that would go from $20,000 to $23,000 a year to cover the cost. It's a really good system. When we get the alarm anytime at night or around the clock, they can see on their cell phone which pump is out, what the alarm is, and we can get an idea of the certain pumps, if one's running more than the other one, gives us an idea for energy savings too. So that's been working out good. And then my capital projects, I have small pump stations. I have manhole and sewer lines that I have every year. Let me just take a quick look. I have it all down here. I have, just give me a second here. Yeah, the capital improvement. Submersible pump stations and repair, I do $50,000 a year out of capital. Sewer line, manhole repair, that's 50.
Page 77.
Page 77, sorry about that.
That's okay.
And pump station generators and transfer switches, that's for $50,000 a year. So with the 51 stations, every year or so I do a generator, because when they hit about 20 years old, they repair them and all, it's not even worth going through that. I'll change them out. And with the smaller pump, a lot of the pump stations we have, we had like 27 of them. We did a resilience study. We had the surveyors out there, and so when I do upgrades at a pump station, I have to raise a lot of the equipment, like 27 of them. So that's an extra cost too. That's coming down the road.
Yep.
Trying to think, is anything else I got to cover here? It's about what I have in the budget. We mentioned it's $5,303,619, a 2.7% increase for the year.
Okay, and I think the noteworthy piece is that only really $600,000 comes from taxation, and the balance is raised by the other fees that are generated by the system.
Yeah, by the system, yes.
So along with the capital is basically paid for by the revenues in the sinking fund, the reserve funds and such. So the only impact on the mill rate is the $600,000. Questions from the board?
Question, yeah, Ryan, what do you see going forward with all the construction of apartments?
Yes,
use of people on your
great
services?
question, great question. So what we do is we do flow studies for certain projects. So when they come to water pollution control meeting, hey, we want to build something, we'll have an engineering company do a flow study. We're just finishing one up now, and then they'll come back to the board and present it to the board. Okay, we have the space or the pump station that handles it, and then so our capacity at the plant, we're about 61% capacity now. But the trick of it is where they're building, where the pump stations are located and their trunk lines, you have to make sure they can handle the flow with the extra, residents or warehouses. This is what the study does when we have the engineering firm do the studies for us. That's how we do the steps on it.
So if we say there's 1,000 units coming on of various sizes of apartments,
yes,
and depending upon where the district is,
right,
because sort of planning and zoning doesn't look at that, they look at the property that's there or suitable, and I'd say that's more heavy impact areas. Where does it leave you guys for capital need?
Well, we have the we get $170, and what we have, like right now, we're in the middle of been sleeving a sleeving project through the center of town, and we had some money for that too. We're going to do more of this because some of the situations we deal with will have I&I through the pipe, so that brings the flow up. So we camera by we do 10 miles a year of cammering and jetting, and then we look at the pipes, and then we'll bring in a company and they'll sleeve the pipe for us. So this would stop the I&I because that brings the flow up to the pump stations. So once that's done and we get the approval to do it, then this will give us more capacity at some locations. Like Central Pump Station, we're in a study now over there. So we looked at the flow meters. We got some sleeving around town to do. We're in the middle of that project now. But I mean, right now, we're pretty good with the facility. That's the key, is we could handle what comes in, but the pump stations themselves, some of the larger ones, I do have to change out the pumps because of our rag issues. People flush the flushable rags, so we run into issues with the pumps clogging up on us. So when I do purchase pumps, I get the non-clogging pumps, and we put about 15 of them in so far. They've been working fine. Because you get cold out, you got to pull the rags out. That's a big issue, too. So we got some work down the road to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions?
And the resiliency studies are still going on?
Yes, still going on, yes.
And there was an issue around Walmart that was pretty potentially major. I'm sorry, I haven't followed it to see how did that...
Yeah, we're working on it. We just had a meeting with the flow study engineer, and we have areas where you got to sleeve pipes in, and the meter at the facility, at the pump station, I'm getting a price right now. Every year I have to bring a company in to calibrate our main meter at the facility, so I brought them out to the pump station where you can just change out the meter to get a more accurate reading with the study, and then sleeve. There's a couple areas, marsh areas, that we're going to sleeve the pipes.
Because there was an issue there where there was somebody wanting to build, but there was a huge concern about
with the
flooding and...
Yeah, because we had, a lot of this goes to Central Pump Station, and we had some flows, because we don't want to, we did a lot of sleeving, we don't want to run into an issue with the impact of a heavy flow with a storm, then the manhole covers come bubbling over, so this is where we're at now with our study with it, with the engineer. We're in still the first, we just got the report back from them, so we're working on it now. I got some capital projects with the sleeve, and that'll be coming up for that.
Thanks.
Okay. Other questions from the board? Questions from RTM members or members of the audience? Public? Okay. Brian, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Okay, next is Parks and Open Space. Detail on page 61.
Hi, I'm going to present for Mr. Shanahan and Parks and Open Space.
Thanks.
So there's no change in the request. We're going to transfer out 26.8 from the fund. And then for them, their increase, sorry, I got to get back to my page now, I just had it. Their increase is really just solely based on an increase to the seasonal and part-time help.
Okay. That's on the operating side. Is there any questions from the board on the operating budget for requested $97,442? Again, $26,800 coming from taxation on this fund.
I'm sorry, Chairman. Do you want me to present on the capital side right now as well?
Yes, but we'll just see if there's any questions on the operating. No, none from the board. Questions from the RTM, board audience? Okay, Josh, you want to hit the capital?
Yeah, I got to find it. Give me a second.
It's in Zebek. Let's see.
76.
Page 58.
58 on the capital side.
On the capital side. Go to capital section 4. And the pictures I just gave you back up that capital request.
That's the 20,000.
Yeah. So what
It looks like 58, Dan.
Section 4.
So if you have tabs, the fourth tab.
Gotcha. So
So if you see the pictures you have in front of you, what this is to connect the trail system, work on the trail system up in the Queech Supply Pond area. So there's a bridge there that they want to replace, a footbridge, and this is what that is. If you're familiar with it, this area tends to be a hotbed of nefarious activity. So part of this project is to replace that to help combat that activity and then make it usable for folks to travel.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the board on this replacement of the footbridge for approximately $20,000 on the capital side? Questions from RTM members? Audience members? Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to the next budget. Parks and Recreation and Senior Services, page 46. Welcome.
Good evening, how are you?
Welcome, welcome.
So I'm going to start by saying that we are transferring money out of the elderly services budget into the Parks, Recreation, and Senior Services, so that's why the name change of the department as well. That kind of started a little over a year ago under the last selectman, and when the retirement of both of the directors of the departments. So the regular wages and salaries shows a decrease of the caseworker that's coming out of the elderly budget that's going into human services. And then the increase is just the director and the assistant director's salary because the other employees, full-time employees, are all under contract. Their contract ends June of this year. The other one is the seasonal part-time help. Again, we combined the two budgets, and there's an increase for senior meals, senior transportation, and fitness programs that have all increased due to the merger, and having more seniors join the center and utilize the services. I don't know if anyone's been here. The building is very busy. Senior meals, we're serving an average of 25 to 30 meals a day for lunch. So it's really nice to see the center being used for that. Longevity is just a contractual thing for 3 employees who still get longevity. And then moving down to the operating, there's some slight increases in purchase services and grounds repair and maintenance just because of increase of equipment repairs, increase of some grounds contracts that we have. We also took on Mirror Lake that we are treating for the algae down there, and some field renovations just for the usage of the fields when the green is not in use that we've seen over the last year. And then moving to equipment, we have some aging equipment that we're just trying to keep up to date, and it also includes the lifeguard equipment for the pools and some sporting equipment. And then everything else just kind of got merged together and kind of just kept everything at a zero with the merger.
Okay. Thanks, Dale and Paul. So the total request is $1,786,513, increase of $404,877, and with much of that attributable to the transfer from seniors.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
so-
395,000.
What page is the seniors on?
Page 44?
44.
44,
Yeah.
right around the corner here.
Yep.
So we could see that on page 44. We've got the 395,000 coming out, and that's sprinkled into your numbers here, correct?
Yeah. So we have one new line item, which is the employee testing, and that's for the bus drivers,
Right, right.
for the 4 buses that we have.
Okay. So So, okay.
So for the board's knowledge, it's almost equivalent of all of elderly services went into the Board of Rec, but when we get to the human services, we carved out one position from elderly service and put it into human services. It just was a better fit all the way around, to run it out of there, because a lot of what that position does really is more equipped to deal with on the human services side. So that's why that choice was made. So you'll see that when we get to human services, that's part of their increase. And I'm gonna just come out and talk about another initiative that we'll talk about many times moving forward. You won't see it as much in this budget, but my request, not all of Parks and Rec's part-time people, but a majority of their part-time people will get an increase larger than 2.7%. If any employee was under $20 an hour, we raise their hourly rate to $20 an hour. So we increased it because it's a little harder to track, especially I dropped the ball when I met with her on this. So we just increased her part-time seasonal to accept that change by 10,000, and then Dale will do it accordingly from there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, questions on the capital? On the operating for recreation?
Just a quick,
Fran?
Is there revenue generated from all this?
Yeah, so on the senior side, it's a little bit different because we don't really take in a whole lot of revenue with that. And then it goes back into, some of their program expenses for stuff. But on the Park and Rec side, yes, we do generate revenue that goes into our special funds balance. That's kind of like money in, money out, like how we pay our instructors, where on the senior side, instructors are and the transportation and the food chefs, that is supported by the tax dollars.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Questions from our TM members of the audience? Okay, we'll move on to capital.
Sure. So capital's on page 73.
75.
And 75.
75 to
75, right? 75, okay.
To 84.
Thank you, Catherine.
Okay.
All right, so we have put in money to do some upgrades to the Foot Park Pavilion, the Foot Memorial lighting upgrades, to continue that. I will be able to report today that we did write a grant for some of this stuff for the Foot Trust that comes every year that we have to do in December, and we were awarded $230,000 for the upcoming fiscal year, and we just got the first half of that payment of $115,000 that will support those two things. Lawn tractor, we put in $45,000. We have an aging fleet of lawnmowers, and our lead maintainer did some research, and he wanted to try to get dollars for a larger mower that would actually cut mowing in half for some of the properties that we cut, some of the larger properties in fields. So that's what that number is. Vets Park, we have $50,000 this year for paving. That lot is starting to really show its wear and could use paving, and we also put $50,000 for next year if we can try to get that funded. $150,000 for the Foot Park Court renovation. This is money that we put into this budget this year, but again, we'll write that into the Foot Trust grant that's due in December. This is for dedicated pickleball courts and do some upgrades to the current asphalt courts. So the plan is to write that into the Foot Trust, and hopefully they will support that request. And then the field fencing, field renovation, court renovation, park trees removal, and the clay tennis courts, we've kept it all the same with the $20,000 and the $30,000 to continue with the program that we've had in place to make sure that, we replace damaged items that are throughout the parks and prune trees.
So what are we picking up for revenue for the Foot Trust for next year?
The 230, right?
230.
230.
130, so that'll cover the Foot expenses, basically.
Right, the lighting in the pavilion.
In part of that 150, right? Is that how that works? Right? Because it goes over, because they're calendar year and we're fiscal year.
Okay. Got it. Questions from the board on these capital requests? Questions from RTM members of the audience? Think you're good?
No, I got one more.
What's that? What
The Commission for Elderly, the Vehicle Sinking Fund.
Ah,
Yes, that's on page 37.
37.
Yeah, in the capital section.
Oh, in the capital section. Got a new numbering system in the back here.
Do I have that right, Catherine? Page 37?
I'm sorry, what?
Okay,
37
that's
for
your
the
sinking fund.
sinking fund?
37.
Got it. That's a 35,000?
Yes. We have 4 transportation vehicles that we use to do medical rides, and then we have the 3 passenger buses. One bus eventually we're going to send to auction because it's older. We're trying to replace some of the older Subarus that we have that are like 2017s, 2018. One actually just was backed into during the snowstorm, so we're trying to have that fixed now. So we're looking to just continue to fund that so that when we need to get buses or a new car, we will have the ability to do that.
Got it. Okay. Questions on this? Questions? All right. All set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Branford Cable Television on page 28. Josh?
It's a pretty simple budget. No change other than a 2.7% increase to the wages of the man behind the camera right here.
Okay, request is for $28,138, increase to $215. Do a great job. Questions from the board on this? Questions from RTM members of the audience? Okay, thanks, Josh. All set. Next, Sewer Assessment Fund, page 64. Catherine?
So the Sewer Assessment Fund is a self-balancing fund. You'll notice that there's not a lot of expenditure activity because while we budget for the revenues for the principal and interest payments, the sewer assessment debt has been paid off several years ago. I'm not sure if you're going to look for this, but the unaudited fund balance is I've rounded up 4.3 million as of June 30th of 25.
Thank you. Questions on this budget? The budget's for $17,034, again, self-funded special fund. Questions from the board? Questions from the audience, RTM members? Okay, thank you. Next is public celebration, page 49. Josh?
Yeah, there's no obviously the seasonal part-time help, we increased their wages. Then we increased fireworks by 5,000. Go big or go home, as they say. And then the other thing that's new is we've created a budget for the Poet Laureate. And that's a small, it's a small amount of 650, although there was a request for more. The Poet Laureate would like to create a scholarship I just didn't feel like it was appropriate for the town to fund that scholarship, but we will look for ways to get that funded from private sources to move forward with that. But so it's only $650 to do some, like for things events that she has and whatnot.
Poet-related activities.
Yeah.
Questions from the board on the request, public celebrations, the request is $54,554, increase of $5,819. Questions? Dan?
Josh, how much was requested for the scholarship fund?
It was $600, I believe. It was my feeling that if I pay for a scholarship for one, I pay for a scholarship for all. So while $600 isn't a lot of money, if you multiply that by 100, it starts to get expensive.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am?
So, sorry, just to clarify about the poet laureate, so is it a honorarium for the poet laureate, or it's a budget for the poet laureate?
It's a budget for the poet laureate to do various activities that person does. So they have events at the library. This is to help with that. There is some. Oh, right. There's a workshop at the high school that is hosted, so it's for that. It's really to try to help promote the activities of the town's poet laureate, and so that's what we're going to do.
So these are non-personal expenditures?
No, this isn't going to money.
So this is for expenses,
right.
Or
this is not. We're not paying the poet laureate.
Supplies or that sort of thing, non-personal, I would think. Okay, other questions? All right, thanks, Josh. Next is employee group insurance, page 57. Catherine?
So the employee group insurance account the budget has two components: the health insurance premiums, and then the small operating transfer out into the OPEB fund. We decided not to increase the request for the actuarial mandatory contribution into the OPEB fund because it is fully funded, that fund. We felt we could keep it flat this year. The employee insurance account covers several costs, the majority of which are employee health insurance premiums. Fire and EMT employees are covered through IAFF Health and Wellness, while the town employees are insured through Anthem, managed by the Connecticut State Partnership Plan. In addition, in that account, there is a budget for dental coverage. If you remember in last year's budget presentation, Jim had suggested that we bring the dental coverage inside to the general fund, as opposed to funding it through the self-insurance fund, as we're planning to wean off of that fund.
Right.
And then there's a small amount for life and disability insurance premiums, as well as medical consultation fees are covered under that account.
Okay. Questions on this? Request for total budget request is $6,972,232. Increase is $274,000. Fran?
Excuse me, yeah. So this has been determined already for the new year. This is an actual cost that it's going to be 6.79 million, 6.
So those are estimates. So I believe that we might have just gotten the Anthem rates. However, we do not have the rates for IAFF, so we had to estimate. Plus, we put an estimate in there for the new positions that will be covered in other budgets that haven't been addressed, but I believe there's 3 or 4 new positions in this budget. as well as an estimated increase for the life and disabilities, because some of these rates, these budget hearings come before the rates come. So we usually don't get those until the end of May, beginning of June.
Typically, when we budget for these, do we take into effect any kind of attrition through the entire town?
Yes, we do take it into account, but we also take into account shifts in, I'm going to forget the word I want to use, but the shifts from, single to two-person and family coverage.
Okay.
Actually, I believe two-person coverage has gone away. It's either single or family. So it is all factored into that.
Gotcha, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Fran. Other questions on this budget from the board?
Question, Joe?
Sure, Al.
Catherine, maybe I didn't hear you, but is that a fixed quote on that insurance, or is that an estimate? Can that change, or how good is the number, I guess?
I would like to say, so it is not a fixed quote as of yet. And so what we're given is projected increases, and it is also then you have to account for your position count. You have to account for your census as to where people are. So it is an estimate. If everyone stayed the same as single or family throughout the year, you'd be able to, once they give you the new rates, you'd be able to budget that. But there's always shifting that happens during the year. So, does that answer your question?
Did you catch that, Al?
And I don't know if I'm speaking loudly enough, so I apologize.
Yeah, so some of it, she has some pretty close dollars. The rest of it, you don't get really solid numbers until late in June.
Exactly,
So it's her best estimate at this time. Okay, I think that's fair. Anything else, Catherine, on that? Fran?
Mr. Chairman, so 4.1% for medical is pretty reasonable. In an environment in most places, it's 10, 20%. We're pretty comfortable 4% is going to be enough?
Yes, I think so. I think that, we budgeted a safe number, I believe, for what we're looking at to get a percentage increase. But don't forget, too, that this does not reflect, this is just the town's portion. So the employees' copay, the premium share, will also increase based on contract settlements. So, that has to be calculated in there as well as...
So those change not, so if the insurance goes up 5%, just to round things off,
Yep.
well, a typical employee their contribution will increase roughly about the same?
No. Some contracts, they go from 14 to 15%. Usually it's not a 5% increase. It's usually, historically, has been about 1% a year increase.
Okay.
But, that's all calculated in there. In what we look at is just the town's portion.
And one last question,
Yep,
if you have
that's
to
okay.
have it, being new, there's so many things I need to look at, but last year, what was the increase last year roughly to the budget?
Oh, to the budget?
If
If I could turn to the right page. About a 4% increase.
Perfect. So
Something else I should mention that's also calculated in there is the HSA contributions. The fire department still has an HSA plan, so there's, part of their contract dictates that we have an HSA contribution for their high deductible plan.
Sure.
So that is also in those numbers.
Thank you.
Okay, you good, Fran?
Just a point of information for Board Member Proto. The RTM amended 2024 to 2025 was budgeted $6,428,141. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the actual expense was $5,555,834. So it allows us some wiggle room on what we budget to what we spend.
So you said 6 million?
So what we amended in 2024-25, I don't have 25-26, but was what the RTM approved was $6,428,141. But what we actually spent in that fiscal year was $5,555,834.
That's a $900,000 savings or reduction to budget.
Say that again?
That was a $900,000 difference.
Yes, correct.
That's significant.
Correct. So to your question of, is that enough? We believe that, I'm going to get yelled at now.
No, he's not going to get yelled at.
We believe it is enough.
However, just keep in mind that, when we put the budget together, it was with the assumption that there was going to be 16 new EMTs hired that year, and they were hired mid-year. So while it looks like a significant bump, and I'm not saying that there wasn't some wiggle room, but that also adds to it, 16 times, and you always, it's better to budget not necessarily all at family, but definitely a combination of the two.
Totally understand. Okay.
Any other questions there, Fran?
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
You're doing good.
Is there a way to know how we are so far year to date, so that it looks like that, 25, 26 is going to be?
So we do not take out purchase orders for the whole year. So far to date, we have spent, I'm going to say 4.9 million of it. And so that is only through March. So we have April, May, and June to go.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Catherine.
You're welcome.
What was that?
Okay, other questions on the employee group insurance? John?
So, it's my understanding that OPEB is significantly overfunded. I can't remember the percentage, but it's, if I remember, it's
Substantially
overfunded. So my question is, can we simply not put any more money into OPEB this year, or make some kind of adjustment so that we try to bring that overfunding down to maybe 100% as opposed to wherever we are?
Yeah, I forget
20,
exactly what the
30,
number was.
Some number like that.
We could look at it, John. It is a trust fund, so it really, you can't really take the money back.
No, I understand,
So,
but can
but-
you not put more in, is the question.
Yeah, I think we could look at that. $12,000 is not going to move the needle anywhere, but I think the principle of it is well taken.
Thank you.
So the principle's well taken. We'll look at the, what was the actual recommendation from the actuaries on that? Do you have that offhand, or?
I believe it was 17,000.
Yeah.
And I could
So
look,
you
because
knocked it
they
down to
accounted for
12.
that.
So it's I think it's reasonable to look at it, so we'll take a look at it.
Thank you.
Other comments on this budget? Questions? Okay. Thank you, Catherine. We'll move on to the municipal insurance, page 58. Total request is $2,650,721, a decrease of $31,000. Catherine?
That pretty much says it all. No, I'm teasing. So the municipal insurance has several components. The first is, our general property and liability insurance. So it includes property, auto, general liability, and there are a variety of policies that the town has. So we're required to carry automobile, crime, law enforcement, property and equipment, flood, cyber liability. So there's really a lot that goes into that number. So the increase that you see here reflects changes that we were given as proposed changes by our insurance broker. They're not finalized, but that's what they're anticipating, along with a small adjustment for when we have to increase the value of once the police department renovation project is done, as well as higher premiums that might be associated with the addition of the 30 East Industrial Road site. So that's why you see a small increase there in that account. The insurance damage account is used to track costs associated with insurance claims. To ensure accurate reporting, we budget the expenses and the revenue goes into the general fund. So it's kind of a one-off. While they're not the same, because there could be costs that go through this insurance damage account that wouldn't meet our necessarily deductible. So it's not a one-for-one, but generally, we budget this account kind of stagnant and then adjust it as claims happen. And so, we come back to this board, whether it's once a year, twice a year, to kind of make that account whole, looking at whether we can transfer from other accounts or there's enough revenue that would be received. A good example, not a good example, of the insurance damage account is the recent fire that happened at the transfer station. I'll be coming back, or the first selectman, to this board because there was a lot of claim associated with that fire. So that account will be definitely needing an adjustment. And it is something we do after the fact because obviously you can't foresee anything like that happening.
Okay. So there should be a bump because of that particular
Yes,
fire?
Exactly. And we don't necessarily bump the budget. I keep it
Right.
flat because you might have a year that you have no claims.
Right. But wouldn't have that been covered under property on fire?
No, not the insurance damage, because in property insurance is where we're paying the premiums. This is with the actual claims associated with whether it's theft, damage. It could be a variety of things.
Okay. So how does that tie to the transfer station event?
So the transfer station event is getting charged the insurance damage account because it was unforeseen costs. So as expenses get paid, we charge that account, and then HR will get a copy of those claims, and they'll submit it for reimbursement. We will have to cover up to the deductible, but then the money that we get back from the insurance company will go into the revenue account that you see on page 9. You see there's an account called insurance claims and refunds, and the reason that it's not 60,000 and 60,000 is because just what I said, that there's costs associated with some claims that don't meet your deductible.
Catherine, what is our deductible?
Diane? I'm sorry. This is Diane Manelli, our HR director.
What is the property casualty deductible?
So I believe, just out of I'm going off memory, so in the...
It would be different. Auto might be different than property.
In the transfer station fire, for example, I believe the deductible was $10,000. So of the damages and subsequent fixes that we have to make, $10,000 of that will come out of pocket. The rest will be covered, I believe, up to $100,000 in damages, and then after that, in that case, we will be subject to any other improvements beyond that.
Have we considered raising that deductible? Because raising the deductible would impact the premium.
I believe they have, however, that was, that's outside of our department's purview. It's usually handled by Human Resources, and Diane is very new, so I would assume that she'd probably look at that next year, maybe not this year, but that would be just my suggestion.
But we can have that conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. That's a good concept, looking at the deductibles.
So
Okay.
I'm sorry, do you want me to keep going on that budget?
Sure.
Okay, so the other two accounts in there are contributions to the workers' compensation and the heart and hypertension funds. So last year, contributions for the workers' comp fund were reduced because, actually, I believe for both funds, because they have relatively healthy fund balances. So the thought was that could be absorbed. Or I shouldn't say absorb, but maybe we would cut it last year and look in future years to increase that if necessary. So the fund balance in the workers' compensation fund as of June of '25, unaudited, is about 5.2 million. And as of June 30th, '25, in the heart and hypertension fund is about 1.67 million. But it is important to note that in the self-insurance fund, we have a 750,000 self-insured retention for workers' comp, which means that if you get a claim over, say it's 900,000, we have to cover the first 750,000 of it, and our excess liability carrier would cover the balance, but we're responsible for the first 750,000.
No, that's what I call a high deductible.
Yes.
Okay. So there's 600,000 requests for that and the 200,000 requests for heart and hypertension. Okay. Questions? Questions from the RTM, members of the audience? Okay, thank you. Moving on to pensions and contributions, page 56.
So the pensions and contributions category also covers several items, including FICA and Medicare, required contributions to the various pension funds, volunteer stipends, and unemployment compensation. So the volunteer fire stipend account provides annual stipends to qualifying volunteers who meet certain participation requirements. In addition to that, the town makes an actuarial required contribution to the volunteer fire pension fund, which operates more as a length of service award program. So under this program, volunteers who meet certain call and service requirements as well as length of service requirements, they receive a modest monthly pension, I'll call it, once they reach the age of 65. The retirement account for municipal employees reflects the town's contribution to the state of Connecticut MERS plan, which covers all top town employees, including police. The police retirement account represents, once again, the actuarially determined employer contribution based on the most recent valuation, along with, we've added the small fee to operate the new pension administration fund in that account. The unemployment compensation, we kept flat as costs are based on actual claims. So what has happened in the past is if claims exceed the $12,000 budget, we do an operating transfer afterwards. And then lastly, the Social Security account, which includes FICA and Medicare, is estimated based on total personnel costs, including full and part-time salaries, overtime, and shift differentials, and it's an estimate.
So total request is $7,357,940, increase of $89,288. Now, the decrease in the police pension is because of the
Right, the large
contributions that we've put in there over the past couple of years. This is the first year that it's kicking in as far as the actuarial determined contribution, the ADC.
Yes.
Okay. Questions on this budget from the board? Questions from the RTM members and members of the public? Okay, thank you on that one. Move on to debt service. We will cover principal and then interest.
Yeah, I'd like to take these together if that's okay.
That's fine. Page 53 and 54.
Yes. So the total budget request is $10,825,070. The request includes existing debt payments, a 1/20th principal and interest payment on the most recent taxable note sale that we just did in March, and a planned $13.5 million issuance in the fall to fund current and, possible anticipated projects. The town currently has approximately $295,000 in outstanding debt, including $84,495 in bonded debt and the $10,800,000 in taxable notes.
I'm sorry, can you repeat those numbers?
Sure. The whole thing?
Yeah, it was
I'm sorry if I went fast.
You said 95,000, it's actually 95.
95 million. I have a problem with million today.
Yes, I'm with you.
I'm telling you, I think it's sitting
Pretend
next
it's
to you.
all thousands.
You need to sit down there. So, the $10,825,070 includes existing debt payments, a 1/20th principal and interest payment on the most recent taxable note sale, and a planned $13.5 million issuance in the fall to fund current and anticipated projects. So the town currently has $95,295,000 in outstanding debt, including $84,495,000 in bonded debt and $10,800,000 in taxable notes.
So we have no outstanding temporary non-taxable notes.
Non-taxable notes.
So it's only the bonds for $84,455,000 and the taxable notes of $10,000,008.
And in the debt service for interest, there is $95,000 estimated for bond issuance costs for the planned
For the
fall.
upcoming fall issue.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay, and if I'm close in calculations, it looks like that $10,825,000 is about 7.2% of
Of the total
expenditures.
budget.
Yeah. Questions from the board on debt service? Questions from RTM members? Ma'am?
So you said 7.2% of the total budget. And what was the, I know there's a recommendation for not to exceed?
Well, yeah, I was just pointing that out. I think the rating agencies like that we're below 10%, but I think in our instance, we've used an 8 to 9%, but it's kind of, it moves around based on sometimes when we have big issues like the intermediate school, that puts a big burden on there, so, but it's a measure. You want to stay somewhere in single digits, I would say, anyhow. Okay. John?
When we go out in October, can you tell us where we're going, what's going to be done?
I did bring it. Can I email it to you?
Sure.
I apologize.
No,
It is here someplace.
Quite all right. Yeah, an email would be great. We'll cover it in ways and means when we get there.
Okay.
Did send it to the board, too, Kathy?
Yes, yep.
So,
Okay,
just
Deborah?
a quick question. Kathy, on page 53, we have our principal payments in that very first line. It looks like it's $1 million more than last year?
Yes, because
Why is that?
So we went, so first of all, includes the principal payment that we're looking to make on the note sale, because that's general improvements, but it also includes funds that we just went out to the market for in anticipated projects that we're looking at with the 13.5 million. So it funds all of those. Probably the largest increase is the anticipated, as well as, we just, when we went out in the fall, there was a chunk for the police department. You're welcome.
So that includes not only the principal payments for debt for the bonds, but also includes any principal pay downs and such, and bands or whatever, short-term notes and such. Okay, other questions on this? Josh, you're good? Okay. All right.
I go by you, Joe. You tell me, am I?
Yeah, you're good, you're good. Okay, here's the big budget. Board of Finance on page 13.
Yeah, I know.
Request of $157,134. Increase of $1,299. Catherine, you're covering that one?
Yep. I don't know how Jim got to cover all these, but that's okay. So this budget covers the cost of the audit, the actuarial services, Board of Finance clerk, and the advertising, printing, and binding is generally the printing of the budget books. So the board clerk represents a 2.75% increase as directed by the first selectman. And the only other account that I'm requesting an increase in is the actuarial services account. It's a small increase, well, 3%, but it's not only for their actuarial reports, but it's, if you have mid-year requests to look at, quadros, to look at, other items that would fall outside of that actuarial reporting process.
Okay. Questions from the board on this?
Just kind of an aside, when do we expect the audit to be ready? Sorry, just thought I'd ask.
I would love to say April 30th. However, I've said that before and I've been proven wrong, so I don't know if I want to put that into the universe. But I definitely hope it's by April 30th, May 31st. It's all going to depend. So the Board of Ed is still shy of a business manager. There was a big transition in our office. Christina just came on board. We're just slowly making that transition. I have a new first selectman who has, it's just been, it's been a challenge to get back to the audit. So there's still a few catch-up items that we have to do as the town, as well as the Board of Ed, and then there will be that decision made by the auditors whether they want to do additional testing, because there's been a gap. So if I had wood, I'd knock to say April, but that's what I'm hoping for.
When is a typical audit completed?
So by statute, it's supposed to be done by December 31st. I will say that for the last several years, probably since 2022's audit, it has been repeatedly, we've had to file extensions. We were hoping to get back on track with this year. So I'm really hoping we don't go past that June 30th. And it's not anticipated to, but, there's just a lot of transition issues that we went through.
So a couple of years ago, Fran, we had issues with the tax office that were involved the OPM and some irregularities that were occurring there that were straightened out. So we weren't able to balance the tax rolls, soon enough, nor the sewer, which have been rectified since then, as well as some of the turnover at the Board of Ed. So those are probably the three primary things which are still lagging. I think the tax and the sewer are in much better shape, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they've been reconciled,
Right.
So for this audit, they're definitely in better
they're in good shape.
But, hiring that new position, or, you know what, I don't want to jump to the next budget, but
Right.
that new position will help
Yeah.
with a lot of that extra additional work.
And there's a lot of good interaction with the Board of Ed, and they've had some turnover there as well, so they really need to strengthen their accounting capabilities. In the meantime, we've kind of been, working both sides to try to provide assistance to them, so that's, and now with Catherine working on the budget, it's taken some of that expertise away. So hopefully that'll be rectified for the June 30th, 26 audit going forward. But I think this is going to be another bumpy year until things settle down. That's how we see it. Okay. Anything else on Board of Finance?
No? Joe, just a comment. Board of Finance with a 0.8% increase should be an inspiration to everybody.
Well, thank you.
All right, Al, I like that. That's good. Let's see what the RTM does with the Board of Ed budget. No. Okay, thanks. Next up is fiscal services on page 14.
The largest increase in this budget is the funding of the full-time position for our office, the new position that was just approved by this board and the RTM last week in March. So in this year's budget, we had only requested April, May, and June, 3 months. But next year, that full-time salary position will be requested. So that's that large increase in the salaries. There is an increase for the finance director and an increase for the assistant finance director, as that is a unionized position, so their contract was settled. I am looking to decrease the overtime account. My hope is that, for the most part, it won't be needed. However, I would like to at least keep a small amount in there for special projects. We're still going through the transition. There will be, a lot of training between the staff to adjust to the new position.
Okay.
The decrease in longevity is because, as everybody knows, Jim Finch retired. So that is just 2 other positions in our office that are eligible for longevity. And the accumulated sick pay has decreased. So when this budget was developed, we had known of a retirement in our department. So we were able to budget that. I'll be coming back to this board to adjust for the payout of accumulated sick pay for the former finance director's position. But I just didn't request anything next year because I hope nobody retires.
Got it. Okay, total request is $711,643. Questions from the board? Questions from RTM members of the public? Okay. Very good, thank you. We'll go on to contingency, page 59. Request is $990,000.
Contingency. Oh, sorry.
Catherine,
It's me.
with Josh's
Contingency.
backup.
Sorry, I'm not paying attention.
She's jumping ahead.
I did.
She was just glossing over this one.
What happened?
Just jumped.
Oh, I'm up.
So contingency, and I apologize.
So the contingency request is going to increase to $990,000 from what was amended last year, which is presently $325,616. That's because we took some during the year, and so we amended the contingency part. But and part of that, but what came out of the RTM last year was 500,000 ish, and so the extra will go towards the is set aside for the 4 contracts that we will settle in the next 4 months, 5 months, and that would be contingency for how those contracts settle.
Okay. Plus your other,
Yeah, there's
other overtime and other
Right, I was just-
unanticipated expenditures that you...
Yeah, I mean, there will be other expenditures, but that is to help navigate the increase, to navigate the contracts. Hence, I know that what we have there is one number, but that number was different at the start of the fiscal year, and so some of that 325,000, a lot of that 325,000 will be used in this budget, as you well are aware, and so it's my belief that we use all of that. So if all things are equal and we use 500,000 next year out of contingency, that leaves us 490 additional dollars as we settle the contracts.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
There's also a small part in there for storm costs, normal things that were budgeted for in contingency, tax appeals, just miscellaneous items like that.
Got it. Questions on contingency from the board? Questions from RTM members, audience? Okay, I think we're good for that. Moving on to the next budget, labor relations. We have a new HR director. Diana, welcome.
Thank you. Diana Manelli. I'm the new HR director. For labor relations, we actually have kept that flat for this particular year. We're looking to not go above that, use internal resources for any type of, issues that may arise based on whatever the situation is. So we're going to try to keep it level and leave it at that.
The request is for $83,600, and that's primarily for the labor negotiator?
Yes.
And what contracts are coming up for next year?
So we have Parks and Rec, we have Town Hall, we have Branford employees, and we have the Fire Department.
Is there 4 contracts coming up? And we have a total of, what, 9? Or how many?
There's a total of 9.
A total of 9 unions or 9 contracts? Okay. Okay, question. Josh, do you have anything to add, or are you good? Not good? Okay. Diana?
I'm with Diana.
Questions from the board on this request for, again, $83,600? Questions from RTM members or members of the audience? Okay, thank you. And then we'll go on to the next. Next budget is Human Resources, page 30.
That's me also.
Yes, it sure is.
So basically, we've kept it pretty low as far as the budget is concerned. We're having a little increase in salaries to just maintain the market for our assistant director. Just did an evaluation on that, and that particular position is below market, especially in the municipality arena. But, as comparison to others, even with an increase, she's still a little below market, but we're trying to get her as close to what that would be just for retention purposes. And she's been with us for quite a bit, and she does have a lot of knowledge within the HR department, and, especially with respect to working with all the departments within the town. So that's what I'm putting in.
Is that person an exempt employee?
Yes, she's unaffiliated.
And so the request is for $400,041, increase of $5,572. And there's other increases and reductions that the board can view here. Does the board have questions on this budget?
No.
Any questions? Al, you good? Okay.
Well, I wish you well in your new position.
Thank you. I'll take that.
Okay. We have a question from Dan.
In our quest to bring the assistant director to market value, why aren't we doing that? Why are we bringing just a little short of market value?
Well, it is short of market value. We're not bringing her up to market value because it would be much more. So we're at the tip of where we can be. So, yeah, so we're not even close to market value.
This was a lot of deliberation, a lot of discussion. And so there's a range, right? So let's say the range is from, $10 to $14. We landed in the middle, a little bit above the average, but we didn't want to make that jump to be at the top end. But so while it's a healthy increase for her, yes, could it be higher to be above mark, to the high end of it? Yes, but we decided that we were going to stay below the high end, but slightly above the average.
Okay, yeah, I understood Diana to say it was a little below market value.
No, it's below the high end, above the low end, somewhere in the middle.
So this is helping with the retention issue?
Right. So, I mean, we want to make sure,
So what would happen is if she were to leave the town employment and just go outside into the public sector, her increase would be substantial. So just maintaining, an increase for her just keeps her motivated to stay with us.
Yeah, I understand the retention challenges across the board, so, okay. Fran?
Do we have a salary administrative program in the town?
Yes, we do.
Where every job is priced?
I don't know the exact particulars. There's been lots of conversations about the program itself for a lot of different reasons, but we have purchased some years ago, the town purchased a program that can give you competitive salaries. Now, whether it was utilized as well as maybe it could have been, I'm not going to have that debate here, but we have that, and so this is part of that process that I feel like, my role, I feel like it's necessary, and this individual, 100%, it's necessary with.
Oh, no problem. I was just generally asking the question because during this whole meeting tonight, a lot of discussion was moving people. If they're at 1875 to 20, is there something behind the thought process? That's all.
So this one, yes. Those, no. I'll be honest, that's my belief that we as a town, if we have part-time employees, one of the reasons we will always hire part-time employees, because if you hire somebody at 19.5 hours a week, you don't have to pay their benefits. But then on the flip side, we say, oh, well, they're a part-time employee. They only need $18.50 an hour. So we have repeat part-time employees, whether it's in the libraries, here in the rec department, at the animal shelter, all of those places, and we're paying them 18, in some cases $17.50, $17.98 an hour, and by the time they work a 4-hour day and they go home, they have $50-$60 in their pocket. We as a town should not be treating those people that way. These are valued people. So that is me, less so than any program. It's my belief that we need to pay them at least $20 an hour. Now, whether other towns do that or not, that I can't answer. That's just, so that I'm just being honest. That's my belief, not whether other towns do that or not. But on this one, that was done through that sort of programming.
I get
yeah, I just want you to understand that part.
Sure. Thank you.
And again, many of the employees are covered by the contracts, by the non-contract.
Right.
So they set their own, standards and grades. But
So the contracted employees, their salaries, part-time or full-time, are determined by contract?
Most of they probably not too many part-timers, but any full-time salary that's covered by a contract, it's stipulated as to what the
Makes
wages
sense,
and
okay.
the responsibilities and scopes as are in there, are covered by those contracts.
Correct.
So what you're talking about.
So part-time people are not, and none of these are all unaffiliated.
Got it.
The affiliated folk, that's negotiated, and how they get, it's not just their responsibilities, and that's kind of true with the assistant HR director. I mean, she has a job description, and those are responsibilities, but the wages of the union folk is set by their contract, and then,
Become fixed costs, essentially.
Right.
Along with the benefits and such.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, other questions on this from anybody in the room? Or if not, then I will entertain a motion for recess for tonight and continuance of the
Second.
public hearings tomorrow. Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.